Hello and welcome everyone. This is the University de Franche Comte versus Tomsk Polytechnik University. This is a French school versus a Russian school. I'll let you guys figure out which one's which, but this is Division 4, Week 2 of our 4th season. We actually have a game underway, so let me show you guys who we have here. This is Nico Toxic, which this is the Russian school's board 3 against Face to Face. This is the board 2 from Franche Comte. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. Probably not. I know actually very little, if any, French at all, or Russian. I think I know less Russian than French. So the pronunciations aren't going to be great. Is there really a match at midnight? It is 10 p.m. Pacific for me. Apparently, this is 6 a.m. UTC, which is what does UTC even stand for? Universal Time something? I don't know. But yeah, it's 10 p.m. for me. That would be 1 a.m. Eastern. So these European teams, they're going late for us. But hey, 10 p.m. that's nothing for me. So I don't mind. But yeah, this is Division 4 match, so these are some good teams. The league has 14 divisions, so this is well in the upper half. Obviously not the top level that we have. We mostly show the Division 1 matchups during the default time. That is typically 10 a.m. Eastern and Pacific on Saturdays. But Universal Time Chamber is yeah, I'm very American, so the pronunciation is going to be horrible. The the time zone is going to be messed up. But at the end of the day, we're here to cover some chess between two university college teams, and I'm excited. We haven't seen Tomsk Polytechnik play before. This is their first season joining us. University de Franche Comte, I believe they played last season, and they did pretty well. So this is exciting to see. All right, in this game so far, it seems to be an even position. White is struggling to decide how to take this knight. There are so many options, and they decide to not take the knight. That's how many options there were. There was that hidden third option that they were really mulling over, and so they take the bishop first and then take the knight. Now, the queen is hit by the rook, so the queen's going to have to move. I expect to see, okay, queen to e3. Probably white will want to bring this other rook in, and looks like black is trying to double. Now, the d file is the only open file on the board. So black is doing a good job of taking control of that open file with their rooks. And yeah, the rook left is very, very standard, trying to double. And so here we see white immediately contesting the rooks. If you waited another move, you couldn't get rook d1 in, as black would have doubled by then. So only now is black able to double. But white is able to trade off one of the rooks. In fact, something has to be done about this tension because black right now is threatening to take twice on d1. So white doesn't trade. White simply defends the rook another time. So if black takes, we take with the rook. If they take a second time, our queen is now there to defend. Neither side has made a flight square. Both of these kings have 3 pawns directly in front of it. So you got to watch out for back rank mate. And yeah, black just not releasing the tension, just improving the queen slightly. And yeah, even number pawns, four here on the king side, only 3 for white. 3 on the queen side, only 2 for black. So this should be able to be held at a draw with perfect play, but probably someone's going to make a mistake. Notice the rating difference between these two players is very large. And the Russian player has now under a minute on their clock versus over 3.5 for face-to-face. It's going good, Oregon Big Red. How are you? Yeah, so both sides make a flight square. Let me try to follow all the players. This game started a little early, if I'm being honest, but it's good. It's better for the players to be early than late. I see now there are 2 other games underway. Here we have, I don't know, Stanislav versus Bulitus. This is the top board from Franche Comte. against the bottom board of Tomsk Polytechnik. I think the rating is, I don't know. I don't trust the ratings anymore because the board 3 is lower rated than the board 4, which it shouldn't be like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much, the board order, because everyone on each team plays everyone else on the other team. So there's 4 players per team, 4 games per player. That adds up to 16 games in the match. So the team that gets to 8.5 points wins. If it's at 8-8, it's a tie. That's because we're in the regular season. Once we get to the playoffs, the teams will enter a single elimination bracket. So there must be a winner declared. And in that case, in a tie, we go to overtime. But unfortunately, we don't have that. This is just the regular season. This is week 2 of 9. There are 2 bye weeks, though. So each team plays 7 matches total. This is only their second match so far. So rook check, this is actually looking pretty good because we're going to separate this king from the defense of the f6 pawn. So right now, black is up a pawn, but white's going to get that pawn back with some advantages. Primarily, that rook activity is very strong. And we're just attacking the h-pawn, and black does not defend this pawn. It was actually pretty much impossible to defend that anyways. But yeah, white is now the side up a pawn. And this would be a huge result, assuming that this actually is the Russian school's 4th board. Actually, here we have face-to-face with the quick win. So what happened here? As I was saying, this was a very even position. I looked away for a second, and lo and behold, the queen's coming in. Yeah, so g4 is a super weakening move. This definitely has more cons than there are pros. And so because of this, after the queen steps aside, the queen comes into f3. We probably have to release this tension on the d file now, and we do. And now the king steps up to defend this. Queen here check, but also controlling the d2 square. This is very nicely played from black. Once the king steps aside, rook d2 hits, and it hits hard. Hitting the queen and hitting f2. There's not really a good way to remedy this situation. And saving the queen loses the king. So that was a nice finish for the French school. They're up 1 point now to none. I still don't see the 4th game. There is one game that is missing. Overtime and tiebreak still 5-2. No. I might have an overtime command. Let's see. It might not be on because it's regular season. Yeah, I don't see it. But essentially, there's one round of 3-2. That's the initial tiebreaker round. And then if it's still tied after that, then we go to 1-2, which is basically bullet, but not really because that 2-second increment. It's really weird. But that's the tie breaks. After that, it just repeats 1-2 until someone eventually wins. I think last season, we had a record like 5 overtimes, something absolutely crazy. So yeah, we don't have a limit on that. Yeah, this is CCL After Hours. If you guys are tuning in to watch this, you're a real fan. Oh, we have a result here that I missed. This is the 4th board from Franche Comte. Alexis Gellis. This is their captain. So let's see how the captain did. Apparently not too well. I mean, they are playing at 2600. So can we fault them? Not really. I don't think so. But yeah, you see another fatal mistake. We have these pawns so extended where we put our king. So g4 is a very interesting start to the game, also known as the Grob. And this ended up not working out for the French player. So let's see how the Russian took advantage of this. So yeah, queen and knight coming in to deliver checkmate. So the queen has to come back to defend. Now we have this bishop is hanging now. White tried to trade queens off, but forgot about the bishop, and the knight conveniently takes, defending the queen as well. And actually, Alexis just resigned here. So let's give a point to Dima, the top board, clocking in at 2600 in Division 4. Very strong. You're surprised that a team is playing this late. Well, these teams are in Europe, so I don't know if it's that late for them. Maybe it's early. I'm not sure. Pawn push with check king here. We have rook check defending our pawn. Or we could take this, take, but then we lose that. But then we can go here, attacking the rook. If rook takes, pawn takes, king takes. Yeah, they didn't even take on g4, so that they wanted to defend this first, but white is completely winning. White should be able to win this one with all these extra pawns. And that's actually going to be an upset win against Franche Comte, who this player is about 2200, playing in 1870. So this did not go well for the French team. It's 7 a.m. in France. Nice. So they're getting up early. Love to see the international teams. I agree. So we can defend this guy. Or not. You know, I didn't want that pawn anyways. We're just going to try this. But yeah, black says, hey, I got passed pawns now too. If you don't want to defend e4, don't mind if I push my f pawn. Ah, there's Alexis in the chat. It's 1300. Really? It's 2 p.m. there and 8 a.m. where you are? The world is so big. Geography, it hurts my small American mind. I can't wrap my mind around it. But yeah, this is completely winning for white. Also, where's the fourth board? Or who am I missing? I'm missing, is it Yakini? Did they play yet or no? Can we get some live feedback from the captain? I'm not sure where Yak is, the tactician. France might be hungover still. Well, that could be where the missing player is. The time zones have bested me for sure. Allegedly still asleep. Yeah. Yeah. It's early there. Not gonna lie. So there's been a lot of checks in this position. And now the queen's just simply trying to guard the promotion. Check. There's no stalemate tricks because the pawn can always push and the king has this square. Rook here is a good move. Just winning the pawn. Trying to get this last piece off the board. There's a queen now. That pinned the rook momentarily. But yeah, we're trying to stalemate. That is the objective here for this black king. So white should try to give check. Like, for instance, king here would be stalemate. So we're not that far off. Just this potential slip. If the king lands on c1 and this thing promotes to a queen or rook, that would also be stalemate. So I'm surprised that white hasn't just checkmated with the king. Like, once the king gets to c1, so we promote with check, and now this is mate in 2. Or you go this way. This is also mate in 2. That is not mate in 2, but that is mate, and that's all that matters. So the bottom board from Russia getting a point. Although they're not really the bottom board. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, that is a round 1 in the books. We have round 2 about to commence. Just whenever the players are ready. I think you need to say it in French. Say what? I don't know. I love that the captain is answering the chat's questions in between rounds. You got another game. Get back in there. We're waiting on round 2. Brent loves watching CCL games. We love having you. We love hosting the games. The pleasure is all ours. And I refer to the Collegiate Chess League in the third person plural. I don't know why. But it's not just me. We do have a team. There's definitely more people involved than just me. But of course, I'm alone here streaming it. But I do have exciting news. Earlier today, we had our first main guest of the season, National Master Caleb Denby, who streams on twitch.tv/BindyCable, if you guys want to check him out. He will be joining us again tomorrow morning, but only for our first match, which is 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. So I'll be up bright and early again, but I'll be joined by Caleb, which is always a good thing. Aller in France? I don't know. You know, one thing I do know in France is en passant, which apparently means in passing. So I'm not completely uncultured. I know a thing or two about culture. I play chess. So yeah. You know, honestly, if a French player plays en passant, like, is that just game over? That's gotta be, there's probably an asterisk in the rule book. If a French player, they're required to play the French defense against e5 or e4, right? Let's see. I mean, that's why the Russian player didn't touch the e-pawn. They don't want to play against the French defense. This was e4, but the white pieces was the French player. So yeah. Starting a petition to get NM Nick Tice to join. Nick will join us eventually. It'll happen. Don't you worry. But I agree. Tomorrow we also will have some special guests joining us later in the evening. So there's actually a ton of matches tomorrow. Most matches are on Saturday typically, but a lot of teams had to reschedule this week because of other events. There was a ton of events this weekend for whatever reason in the collegiate chess world. A lot of teams are at US Amateur Team, which is an annual thing all across the country. There was also like this Utah chess tournament that a lot of colleges went to. I know primarily UNLV went, affecting the Collegiate Chess League. So UNLV has a match tomorrow, I believe at 3 p.m. Pacific, and I'll be joined by their president who's done commentary with me in the past. And then after that, we have a 5 p.m. Pacific match with Baylor. I'm trying to get the matches back to back, but actually Baylor had a commentator or two commentators join me last week, but not this week because they will be playing this time. So they're both on the A team. I think last time when they were doing commentary with me, we were covering their lower rated teams. So they weren't playing, but they were able to commentate. This time they can't commentate because they're playing. So as great as that would be, I wouldn't want to distract them, you know? Like the games are serious. They got to give their full attention to the match. I can't be saying, "Oh, look at your teammates' game. What do you think they should play?" It'd be very distracting. As great as that would be. So I've been telling them they should make their own club channel so they can stream themselves while they're playing, but I don't think they've done that yet. They're very busy college students. Okay, so yeah, I guess Yukini is still sleeping. So Franche Comte, they're playing down a player, a gambit of sorts. Did you guys say, was it 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. for them? I mean, they rescheduled, so I don't feel that bad. Like, okay, this is a good move from white. This is ruining the king side pawn structure for Alexis. We got to cheer for Alexis. Alexis is like the lowest rated player in this match, but also like they're tuning in the chat. They're answering questions. Like they're dialed in. They're the team captain. I would definitely say Alexis is the crowd favorite here, the fan favorite. But unfortunately, their position doesn't look great. I will just say. Not to say that it's lost, but it's not looking great. The rate that it's going right now, all signs point to Mat Matchalila? Who is this? Noni Seaman Jacob. We're just going to call them Jacob. I don't even know if... Yeah. Jacob here is doing great against Alexis. Both sides, though, pretty even on the clock. The queen is hit by the knight. So the queen's going to move, and where to go? Probably, maybe you want to stay on the king side. Maybe you want to go here. Or maybe you retreat. No. Okay, queen to h5. Kind of what I was expecting. Now, at some point, I think black would like to try to trade these bishops. But if you push this pawn too soon, you will drop the d pawn. That's not great. Okay, so we have rook here. Not sure what this is going for. If you want to push b4, you're going to have to support it with c3 first. But I still don't think that's great because you're going to lose this a pawn. Here we have a pawn push from black. Pawn takes, now bishop takes with tempo. So if we try to save the rook, perhaps there's bishop attacking it yet again. We would have to put ourselves in a pin there with the knight to not lose the exchange. Another thing we could try is c4, but that would lose a pawn. So I'm wondering if Alexis will go for this bishop b4 idea. That's kind of inducing a queen trade. Now, I think a queen trade is actually good for Alexis because their king is a bit weaker. But yeah, these rooks actually have very short squares. The bishop pair is very powerful, and this is exactly why. One bishop on its own can only control one color complex of the board, so half the squares. But both bishops together combine to take full control of both light and dark squares. These bishops, they're like, right now, they're powered by their friendship. Together, they're stronger. But we didn't see bishop b4. So the rook is essentially saved by this last move, c3. Just essentially blocking bishop b4. So, yeah, I guess the position overall is fairly even. Nothing too crazy. I think Alexis with the bishop pair is actually the favorite now. White has done nothing to try to take advantage of this open king. All of these pieces are pretty far away, whereas black has some decent activity with the bishops. So, fairly interesting so far. I think white might try to trade queens here and put this knight on d4 with tempo on the bishop, trying to get a trade. Alexis is thinking here. Their opponent has a minute up on time, so that's going to start playing an equation, playing a role in the situation. Time pressure can make a fool of us all, no matter how good your position is. And here we have an awkward move from Alexis. Starting to feel nervous over there. King to f8. This is not really a move that you want to see. And there goes the queen. Alexis played way too fast there. Oh, no. Yeah, once the knight moves, you got to trade queens first. So Alexis crumbled in the last two moves. Everything up until that point was great. And then maybe they were listening to the stream and heard the time pressure. I don't know. Maybe I jinxed them. But that was not how you want to finish this game. So Matchalila or Jacob gets their first point. Although perhaps they should have a second point because Yakini is not here. So let's move on to the next game. We have Konashev. Nikita. Nikita is playing Bulitus. Guadalupe Quinton. Quinton versus Nikita. And what is going on in this game? So we have 2 minutes and up a piece, it seems. We are up a knight, which is great for white, but also the time advantage is very significant. So also it makes sense if you look at the ratings. So yeah, white is missing a G pawn, so that's kind of awkward. Black has these double isolated pawns, so that's not great. And this bishop and this rook have yet to develop, so white's a little behind in that regard. But at the end of the day, when you're up a knight, life is good. Here, attacking the queen, so the queen's got to move. queen might want to come this way. That's an idea. Only 15 seconds for Nikita. You gotta pick up the pace here. So the queen steps backwards. Pressure on this diagonal. I would try to maybe you want to push b3 and then get the bishop on the long diagonal, fianchetto here. Because if you develop the bishop this way, you'll lose this pawn with check. That's very annoying. You don't want to do that. So now the queen actually leaves the b file. Our bishop has full mobility now and does so by going to e3. Just a solid development move. Here we have queen here. Knight here looks pretty good. Attacking the queen and this pawn. Queen could go here or here to defend. But yeah, overall, that's a solid move, I would say. Actually, maybe not. Maybe there's bishop takes. Although, no, there's rook takes because knight also defends this way. Okay, so here, opening up the f-file, this is kind of awkward. Oh my god, 2.9 seconds. They're under a second there on that move. But there is that 2-second increment. There goes this pawn. 1 second, they're going to flag. Oh, 2.3. Oh my god. It looked like it hit 0. Bishop here, that's a fork. That's a much better. Yeah, that's actually mate in 1 after the queen comes back to block. So they didn't have the time to play that move, but didn't matter. That is a point for the top board from Franche, Comte. And looks like face-to-face lost to Stanislav, who I believe is 2-for-2 now. They've taken down the top 2 boards from Franche Comte, so that is a very strong player. Do you think the Russian team might have put their last names in first? I think that is a very likely possibility, but I can't tell you the difference between their first names and last names. Although I will say, so Dmitry, Nikita, Jacob, I mean that's not just Jacob. That there's a whole hyphen in there. I can tell you Jacob's a first name in my experience in dealing with people named Jacob, but I would say if I had to choose, they likely did put their first names second and their last names first, but that's normal in a lot of countries. So I don't know, but yeah, and then the board 2 from France is actually missing their last name. I probably could have looked it up, but I didn't. So we're sticking with that. They're just going to be known as face-to-face. Yeah, I know a lot of Asian countries do that as well. So that's pretty normal there. Never really watched chess tournaments. What is this format for this tournament? Hello and welcome. This is the Collegiate Chess League. So these are teams of 4 playing. This time control is 5 plus 2. So that's 5 minutes plus 2-second increment. And how the teams of 4 work is that everyone on one team will play everyone on the other team. So you will play 4 games per person, essentially. That makes the match a total of 16 games. And so the first team to 8.5 points wins the match. So right now, Tomsk Polytechnik is up 4-2. It's actually more than that because one of the French players is missing. So after 2 rounds, they should have an extra 2 points. So it seems that the Russian school should be able to win this one if all goes accordingly. But who knows? Maybe the French player will wake up and return triumphantly and commence the greatest comeback that we've ever seen. You can't rule that out. It's possible. But essentially, this is a season-long tournament. So this is week 2. There are 7 rounds in the season. And based off your regular season standings, you will go into a single elimination playoff bracket where these teams will then compete and play for prize money. So chess.com is putting up $25,000 in prizes. And you can check out more information on that link in the chat. That'll take you directly to show you the prizes for each division. But if you read the whole thing, it should tell you all the information that you need regarding our season. So yeah, so the regular season is round robin. and the playoffs are single elimination. So what we do is we register teams. So essentially, a team captain will submit a team registration form with all their players. And what we do is we put the players, I mean, the teams themselves will decide which players go on which teams, but essentially, you need to put your best players on your top team. You can't put weaker players on a top team. So let's say you register 2 teams and you have 8 players. You need your best 4 on your A team and then your worst 4 on your B team. So that's how the registration process works. We take the average of the top 4 players per team, that rating, and that becomes their team rating. And then we list every single team that registered based off their rating. And then we put them into groups of 16 or divisions of 16. And then we take each division of 16 teams and then we split them up into groups of 8. So each division has 2 groups of 8. There's group A and group B. I think we should have a format command as well, but it's all in the article. I'm just spitting out for anyone that doesn't want to go to the article. I understand. I want to stay and watch this exciting chess match myself as well. But why we split them up into 2 groups of 8 is because we're an international league. We have teams from all over the world. So we have group A for Western schools, mostly West Coast. And then we have group B for East Coast, as well as European, Asian, or African teams that are mostly international. So that way the time zone difference isn't too great, right? Because if an Asian team has to play against a California team, that's like 12-hour difference. That's kind of crazy. So we try to group them up like that, but also it's because of our format is round robin. So if you're in a group of 8, you only play 7 times in a season. If we did a round robin with 16 teams, that would be 16, or it would be 15 matches, but that would be a lot more matches, and we don't have the kind of time for that. So our regular season is 9 weeks long. 2 weeks are bye weeks, so they don't play. So the 2 bye weeks plus the 7 matches that they have to play adds up to 9 weeks total. And then we go to playoffs. So essentially, if you are in the top 6 out of the 8 in your group, you will make playoffs. If you're in the bottom 2, you're eliminated. You don't make the playoffs. And the top 2 in the group go directly to quarterfinals. The middle 4 of the group will play against the other group from the same division, and that's considered the wild card match. And what happens then is that the losers eliminated, the winners will move on to the quarterfinals. And then you have semifinals, and then you have finals. And then at the end of the finals, that's when we give out the prizes. So like I said, chess.com's putting up $25,000 in prizes, which is great. And we have a ton of different divisions, so we don't turn around any teams based off their rating. We allow all teams of all rating. And because of that, we've gotten a ton of teams registered. So this season, we had over 220 teams register, and that gave us 14 divisions. Last season, we only had 160 teams for 10 divisions. So we've grown about 60 or so teams, which is great. And I expect a lot more even next season as well. Will you play in person? I don't think so. But I think that for like the finals, maybe at some point in our future, we could definitely do an in-person finals, which would be super cool to make an event out of it. But the whole idea of the Collegiate Chess League is that we want the lowest barrier to entry as possible. So like, we don't turn around anyone based off their rating or their location, right? You can play from anywhere online throughout the entire world. And because of that, that's how we've been able to get so many players and teams registered. It's completely free. There's no entry fee at all. And yeah, having it online is definitely very helpful, right? if we did it in person, I mean, it would just not be possible with our current format. It would have to be a one-time event, right? And it'd be very expensive for a lot of teams to travel. You'd have to pay for the flight ticket or whatever to get there, right? And you'd have to pay for the hotel fee. That's not cheap. And a lot of these clubs, they don't get any funding, right? So the Collegiate Chess League is here to grow college chess. We want to make college chess into something that's like an esport, something like a college sport that you would see on like national television, right? We're putting money in these clubs' pockets so that they can then go to other events or they can host their own tournaments, right? Because a lot of tournaments are in person and they just can't go because they don't have funding. So by giving $25,000 in prizes to colleges, they can then put that money and invest it into attending their own tournaments, right? That they normally couldn't have gone to because they just didn't have the money for it. So we could also invest that money in like buying sets or clocks or pieces or boards or whatever, right? So a lot of clubs are underfunded and they just don't have any of that stuff. This is looking to be a complete draw. It's hard for either side to make progress, but it looks like Black's going to try. But yeah, these kings are slippery. They're avoiding the checks and the pins. College game day for Saturday, and Lee Corso picks who wins the game. Dude, it's going to happen. Just trust me. The Collegiate Chess League is going to be like the biggest chess event since like PogChamps or like the World Championship. Like, I don't know. But yeah, look at this, dude. Nikita's got 10 seconds. So our fan favorite here, Alexis, they're up 2 pawns of material, and they're up 2 minutes to 10 seconds. So if they're going to win a game, now is the perfect opportunity. Nikita is actually lower rated than Alexis. So trying to get back to the commentary. Bulitis drew Jacob, so they tied. That is 1.5 each for them. So yeah, I apologize. I've been just talking about the College Chess League. I should be focusing on these matches, you guys. These players, they're playing bright and early, on stream, on camera. They deserve this recognition. So let's see. Black wants to play h3. That's probably pretty annoying. So I would say white should probably play h3. The knight's gonna come here. That's also annoying. Black is doing things that I don't appreciate. How dare they? PogChamps was better than the World Championship. I think a lot of people would agree with you. I think in the chess world, that's a hot take. My personal opinion. Okay, this is threatening to win the knight. The knight comes here, though. This is a strong move. What happened to our g-pawn, Alexis? Did you play the Grob again? Oh my goodness, you played the Grob again. When you play the Grob, do you normally castle that way? That just doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right at all, does it? Man, this is some really dangerous chess play. My goodness. Alexis living life on edge. Look at this. Don't care about that pawn on h. 1 second. Oh my god, wait. Dude, it's 40 seconds to 3 seconds. This is the live position we've just been analyzing. So opening up to take this pawn, we could have knight takes as well. If we did queen takes, that would drop the knight. So Alexis is doing great. 3 seconds to 40. Queen here, that's attacking the knight. That drops the knight. Does Alexis find it? Yes, they do. 1 second. Usually when you blunder like that, that's game over. Here, that's a move. You give up this check, but the king comes here. The knight guards this check here on the light square, and we're threatening some gnarly checks of our own. But instead going passive, bringing the queen back. Pawn takes with tempo. That's nice. Knight here with tempo. King gets off the g-file. Maybe we threaten mate. 3 seconds. You got to defend this somehow. Bring the knight in. Pushing the pawn. Rook here attacking f2. That is technically defended. Let's see. Rook here defends, but also opens up the g1 square. We're giving up with these pawns. We don't care. We're going to take here twice. You can't defend this anymore. Rook goes over. Queen takes. Rook takes. Here, rook check, and that is mate. Oh, wrong way, wrong way. You gave up the 7th. But okay, you give up the e-pawn, but now you can take on a7, defending a2. Do they do it? Yes, they do. 5 seconds. But yeah, they missed mate. Rook f7 was mate in 2. So that was unfortunate. This is defended. That's defended, but this isn't defended. Rook here would help. Also pushing the pawn works. King here, we can always kick the king out. But black also doesn't have any threats. Everything's defended here. That's a check. Defended. And now the rook also defends this way. Black should get behind the pawn. They don't. White should get behind the pawn. Here, threatens to take the knight and then take the rook. So the rook steps up here. Rook's doubled. There goes the knight, but that's a check. Oh, we could have more checks. Let's see. We could also move the knight. But yeah, I really hope Alexis doesn't botch this somehow. That would be upsetting. Rook check wins the rook. Oh, missed. Knight back to defend. Now the rook's hanging. Rook here. That's helping promote. Black can't stop it. There's going to be a queen. There's a queen on the board. Check. There's got to be mate so soon. Here's mate. That's mate. There it is. Alexis with the win. Looks like Dmitry also won the top board from Russia. But hey, big point there from France's bottom board. Collegiate Bullet Championships. We will do that in the off season. We want to do Bughouse and we want to do Bullet. And then just a little spoiler for anyone tuning in. Live leak from me personally. I think our fall season, we were planning on that to be an individuals tournament. And then we'll do spring season as the team event. So this last year, we did 2 seasons in 1 school year, both of them team events. Just an idea. I'm not confirming anything, but I'm just saying I think we're going to do more individual events. And we're going to split up the school year based off fall and spring season. We'll do an individuals first and then a team event in spring. That's just an idea. Isn't Joe Bruin the UCLA mascot? Yes. It is not my actual name. A lot of people don't know that. And a lot of people assume that Bruin is my last name. And apparently Bruin means brown in Dutch. So people think that I'm Dutch, but I'm not. My real name is actually Joe Lee. So I might have a commissioner command. Yeah. So I'm not Dutch. I'm actually half Asian, if you're curious. So yeah, that is I believe 2 rounds in the books. We should have 2 more rounds left. Actually, no. I feel like we played 3 rounds. Maybe we only have 1 round left. And the other half Dutch. Very close. Okay, this is the top 2 boards going at it. So, yeah, I feel like I missed some games. I'm not sure. Maybe I missed like 1 of them. Or 3. Actually, yeah, I think I just missed Yakini's games, so that would actually make sense. That should probably be like 3 added points to Polytechnik, which would put them at 8.5 for the win. So I think the match is technically over, assuming Yakini forfeited all their first 3 games. But the board points still matter, so even if the match is clinched, the 4th round is still played because even though Franche Comte lost the match, the points that they win from winning games are used as a tiebreaker later on in the standings. So every point still matters. And of course, you want to finish out the match, right? And yeah, here we have the top 2 boards going at it. A big rating difference. This is definitely the strongest opponent that both of these players have played yet. So you forfeit all 4 games of Yukini isn't responding. That is unfortunate. Hopefully they will be better informed next time. So, all right. Are we losing a pawn? This is a big question. We've pushed our f pawn, so if queen takes, that's going to come with check, right? So I'm expecting knight takes because our knight is pinned. Our knight is pinned because if our knight moves and takes, we will lose our queen. And losing our queen is not good. So I'm expecting black to take here. Or black could take the knight first if they're worried. Now, one thing that you have to keep in mind is after knight takes, we don't have to take, right? This bishop would pin the knight to the queen. Now, the knight could take here with check. So that is something to keep in mind. But no, black never pulled the trigger on d4. I don't know if it was good or bad. They're definitely a higher rated opponent or player than I am, so they probably know more than I do. They didn't take, and now the knight made its way to a4, kicking the queen off of this diagonal. And only now does black take on f3. So white has the bishop pair. Yeah, I like white's position actually. The bishop pair is pretty strong. Here we have f5. Now, this is the moment of truth. Does the French player take en passant? They didn't do it. I don't know. Are they really French? It's making me question everything now. They didn't take en passant. What was that? Here's a slow motion replay. f5. Didn't take it. I don't know. That's disappointing. It's not every day you get to watch a French team play. And I had high expectations, but clearly I shouldn't have. Cancel the season. They're banned. They're no longer allowed to compete. You don't know if en passant was the move there. I understand where you're coming from, but there are higher things at stake here than winning the game. There's a reputation on the line. You have your entire country on the back of your shoulders. You're on the world stage right now. Everyone's watching you play. Now people don't even know if Bulitis knows what en passant is. Maybe they didn't play it because they just haven't learned it yet, right? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. So, yeah, I liked White's position earlier, but now that we've seen a couple of trades, look at all these pieces. They're all on dark squares, except for these two. These two are fine. But the reason why I'm not liking the dark square combo here is because our bishop, like queen takes is really good for black, and just playing the knight versus bishop in game, because all of black's pieces are on light squares. I mean, I say pieces, I'm specifically referring to the pawns, right? This bishop over here, this is a tall pawn. This knight can work on the light squares. Like knight c6, just that's too obvious. Look at that. That's a fork. How do you save both of these pawns with this bishop? You push here, you take, and voila. There goes a pawn. White will get another one back, but lo and behold, black emerges up a pawn, right? That's a fork. Probably bring the king in. So that makes sense. Knight here. Look at that. How does white dislodge the knight on e4? Explain that one to me. Go ahead. Try. I'll wait. Somebody in chat. You can't do it. It's impossible. So essentially, black has the freedom and mobility to do whatever they want for the rest of the game and always have this connected pass pawn. Whereas white, I mean, they're just down a pawn, right? They're much more limited. And see, black is already just trying to make a second pawn, a second pass pawn. Also note, the pawn promotes on h1. This is a light color square. This is a dark color bishop. How is the bishop going to prevent the pawn from promoting? It's very difficult. You have to stop it on one of these two. And notice the king is blocking the bishop's path back to defend. So if this king has to be distracted by this pawn over here, that frees up this king to work its way around and guide this pawn to promoting on d1. So up a pawn, but going to be up 2 pass pawns. That's going to be enough of a strategy for black to convert this win, right? And it all stems back to the knight versus bishop, right? So that's that. Knight here hits the bishop. Where's the tall pawn going to go? It's going to go over here. This king now has all day to work its way over. And yeah, there's a little game of tickle, a little check, trying to distract the king. Now we have check here, but I don't know if that's that great, to be honest. I'm not sure. It's all because there's no en passant. That's right, honestly. In all fairness. Okay, so this is just attacking the pawn. What happens? Oh, it's not just attacking the pawn, it's attacking the fork. This is a fork of the pawn and the forking square. But yeah, this is winning a second pawn for black. So look at this tricky knight. Yeah, check and the king goes here, and that's a huge mistake. What a move. This is such a beautiful move. And this bishop, dude, it's just so sad and not good. So yeah, there goes a pawn. And yeah, this is game. That's gonna wrap up very quickly. Let's look at another game. Here we have face to face versus Jacob. These are the board 2s. Yeah, it's a lot easier to spectate than to play. That is for sure. These players are all better than me, so. All right. So what is going on? White is up 2 pawns, so that's good. Black is up development, though. This bishop has yet to move. The rooks are disconnected. This rook is very active. So it's not over. Still interesting. This is a strong pawn. Yeah, we have Dmitry getting their third point there. And they went flawless. 4 out of 4 if you include the forfeit win. So that's a really good score for Dmitry, the top board, undefeated. Here we have queen here, pressure on the bishop. Also a little pressure on the rook. Perhaps we can try to dislodge the queen's defense by moving like h4 or something. I'm not sure. Now, it's important to note the queen actually doesn't have to defend the rook. The queen could simply, like, for instance, take g4, right? If we take the rook, our rook hangs. Or they don't even have to take the pawn and attack the rook. They could maybe go here, and that's attacking this square as well. Okay, so none of the above. Yeah, I don't think h4 was a good move. I'm just showing ways that it's a bad move, actually. Just queen takes g4 is pretty simple. But here we have the bishop develop attacking the rook, and the rook goes to d8, attacking the queen, but also attacking this pawn on d5. So let's see. Yeah, the queen didn't want to move, so attacked this instead, but I don't think this is that good because now black just gobbles up all these pawns. So face to face was up 2 pawns. Now they're going to be down. Are they going to be down? They might not be down, but it's going to be tough. I don't think you could defend both of these pawns. You're going to lose one of them. So choose which one to keep. Probably you want to keep this one. And here we see c4. So that's interesting. This pawn's a gunner. Now, this pawn is also going to... Oh, wait. I missed that. That was also hanging. Dude, face to face and I were just completely caught off guard there. That's what we call in the industry a freebie. A free bishop. That is unfortunate. But white's like, all right, I got these 2 pawns at least, so that's cool. But not as cool as a bishop, I gotta say. And yeah, the time advantage is actually not at all in Franche's favor. So actually, we have the bishop sacrifice for the 2 pawns. And it's very important to note that the king made a flight square before doing that. Otherwise, that would have been lost. So that's going for that. Yeah, this is very interesting. Only up 1 pawn now. And this pawn's actually pretty weak. For the record. Rook here's coming. And who knows at that point. Gives you hope. Yeah. If I could reach 2,000, you can do it too. There's nothing fancy about it. Rook here, perhaps, to defend. Oh, rook here. That's... Yeah, now we're even. So both players tossing around bishops like it's no big thing. Okay. So rook back. Rook here, though. No, rook here is a fork. So here gives this up. But now we're going to push. Push him, baby. It's a 3 versus 2. Not sure I like this move because... I don't know. Now that's a pawn. That was a bad move. The king move was bad. Yeah, I didn't like a4. a4 paralyzes the b pawn because if you push the b pawn, then you lose a4, right? So, yeah, I don't know. This pawn it's farther advanced though, I will have to say. But white did not push it for whatever reason. So now this pawn kind of is catching up. So rook here threatens a skewer, but I think okay, here check. King back up. Wait, why didn't we just queen? Excuse me? Excuse me? Why didn't we queen? It doesn't matter, we're queening anyways. Oh my god, black is... Dude, both of these players are like, they don't want to win. They're like, no, you beat me. Take the bishop back. I felt bad for taking yours. Seriously, take it. No, take my pawn. It's fine. No, you promote. No, you promote. No, so white's like, all right, fine, I'll make a queen now. So now, I mean, black was winning. Now they're losing. So that's fun. Queen check, or just any check. 6 seconds though. You could flag. Just a heads up. Rook check. That's gonna win this pawn. Pawn block. Still not great because of queen check. Or any queen check, really. This just attacking that. That defending that, but now rook here attacking that. The king has to move. The rook can defend backwards. Here, and now queen takes here was a thing. Check here. The king can still move, but then there's rook takes. But yeah. Yeah, white should win this one. Guess the ELO game? Yeah. Oh my god. I wonder if rook takes, pawn takes. I wonder if that... I feel like that's still winning for white, but... I don't know. 2 connected passed pawns. It's got to be worth something, right? Oh, queen takes is super strong. Really strong. Now, this is the only move. Our king has to move And now queen takes or rook takes. Now there's still the pawn move, and now this is mate. Really nice. Really nice move there, pinning the rook to the king with queen f4. So face to face, getting a win there. And I think that's it. I think that's all the games. I think this fourth board beat Alexis. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, that should be all of them. And then we add 1 point each to all the Russian players for their wins against the third board from Franche Comte, who hopefully is sleeping well. I hope apparently they're not answering their phone. Oh, hopefully they're fine. Assuming they're like really deep in sleep right now. But yeah, that was Franche Comte losing to Tomsk Polytechnik University in Division 4. And it was a fun match. Unfortunate that Franche Comte was missing a player. Hopefully they'll be back by next week. But that's it for me tonight. I'm going to head out. Appreciate all you guys being here.